Hello Nation and welcome to the show where we help you to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. It is I, Commander Cheapskate, and welcome to A Way of the Underhive, your ultimate guide to Games Workshop's gritty and immersive skirmish game, Necromunda. Whether you're brand new to the dark depths of Hive Primus or a veteran looking to sharpen your skills, this series is your go-to resource for mastering all aspects of the game. From gang warfare to campaign strategies, we got you covered. And on today's episode, we're going to take a look at an unofficial Ash Waste Nomad starting roster for your games of Necromunda. And the reason why that is the case is because in this video, I am showcasing a set of rules that I actually wrote for myself, as well as for my gaming group, that features giant Arthromite insects that the Ash Waste Nomads can use as vehicles. Unfortunately, the Ash Waste Nomads have gotten very little support from Games Workshop as of late. I know that later on this year they're going to release a new supplement called the Tribes of the Wastelands, which will add some additional rules for Ash Waste Nomads that they can use in their campaigns. However, though, there hasn't been any rumors or any information about giant Arthromites, larger insects that the Ash Waste Nomads get to use. After all, the Ash Waste Nomads are nomadic by nature, and we also don't really see a lot of the larger insects that they can use to help transport their tribes. Because to be perfectly honest, I doubt the entire tribe is walking across the Ash Wastes, and you can only do so much of the Deathback Hellamite. So in this video, I'm actually using some of my unofficial Arthromite vehicle rules that I created for the Ash Waste Nomads. And you can find the link to both the video that I made about that, as well as the rules on my blogger site, and the links provided in my description box. So if you are interested in seeing those rules and what they look like, you can access those. Now, just to be aware that these rules are completely unofficial, not related to Games Workshop in any way, shape, or form. All I did is I just took the current custom vehicle rules that existed in the Book of the Outlands, and I just changed the wording a little bit to represent the Arthromites, as well as some of the skills, as well as the upgrades you can get for your giant insects. And so I decided to make a video about using those rules, just in case anyone's interested in exactly how they would look like in your rosters. So with that out of the way, let's talk about the playstyle that I've created for your guys' rosters. I've actually made several rosters for the Underhives campaign, as well as for Ash Waste, as well as for the Underhells campaign. And I've also made a roster for the Aranthian succession as well. And in all those rosters, there's a good balance between shooting as well as close quarters battle and close combat with the list that I've actually created. The Underhives, Underhells, as well as Ash Waste roster is quite elite due to the weapon choices, but because it's elite, it's a very small numbered gang, so bottle test will be an issue for you guys, for those of you playing at the 1,000 credit level. However, as you of course level up in your campaigns, you can get more fighters to help you. At the same time, I am also utilizing my unofficial Arthromite rules that I created. The links are of course in the description box. You can click on those. So do keep that in mind. So if you want to use this for like an official campaign or anything like that, unfortunately that's not going to really be feasible for you. But if you just want to try out using these rules or just play for your own home games, then by all means do so. I wrote those rules up and you can use them anytime you like. Alright, so let's talk about the unofficial Ash Waste Nomad starting rosters that you can use for your games of the Underhive, the Ash Waste, and the Underhells. I'm providing a 1,000 credit starting roster, and unfortunately the roster is quite small because Ash Waste Nomads are pretty overpriced for what they're what they can do. Same thing with the weapons and equipment that they're bringing. So it is going to be a smaller gang, but that means you just got to be more careful when you actually play it. So first of all, let's talk about your leader. Your leader is going to be a chieftain. It's going to cost you 275 credits. This character is packing a web gun because web guns are absolutely amazing. Strength 5, silent, ignores armor. What else could you possibly use or want for your Ash Waste chieftain? That way you can get up close and blast them with those web guns and take them out of action. He's also packing a long blade because he's going to need that because he'll be closing the distance towards his enemies. It's a good way to protect himself in close combat. He's also got an Ash Cloak, which means he has a respirator, and also has a 5 ward save against environmental effects, as well as a Sky Mantle, which you can use to perform a double action or to go into hiding. He's also got the Iron Will skill from the leadership tree, and the reason why is because you only have 6 fighters in this gang, so the moment you lose one guy, you are taking bottle tests. So having Iron Will help you to last a little longer in the battles. Your champions could be a Watcher, so it costs you 265 credits. This character is armed with a Charge Caster with Shock Blast, as well as Crack Rockets, so that way you can take on larger targets like vehicles or important targets like brutes, as well as high value targets. He's got a Scavenge Stub Gun for a backup weapon, as well as for close combat. He's also got a Rocket Pack, so that way if you roll an ammo roll for your Charge Caster, you can automatically reload it. Ash Cloak and Sky Mantle has got the Born to the Waste special rules, that way you can hide even in the Underhives. So that way you can launch your attacks from a hidden position. After that, you could have one of your warriors that costs you 190 credits. This guy's going to be the specialist in your gang. He's also packing a second web gun, so that way you can use that weapon to assault your enemies and to destroy them that way. He's got a scavenge stub gun for a backup weapon, as well as for close combat, as well as an ash cloak and a sky mantle. And like I said before, he's going to be the specialist for your gang. Then you also have a second warrior that costs you 90 credits. This guy's got a long rifle, as well as a scavenge stub gun, rocket pack, as well as an ash cloak and a sky mantle. So this guy's your typical long rifle wielding warrior. You can pair your warrior specialists with your leaders, your chieftains. That way you have two web guns on the assault team. And you can pair this warrior with the warrior with the long rifle and the rocket pack with your watchers. That way your watcher has two automatic reloads for the charge caster in case anything goes wrong with that weapon. The last two normal fighters for your gang are going to be two dust runners that are going to cost you 65 credits apiece. Both are equipped exactly the same with blast carbines, so that way they have rapid fire weapons at medium to short range. And at the same time, they also have scavenge subguns for a backup weapon, as well as for close combat as well. Your two dust runners will accompany your warrior specialist, as well as your chieftain and your assault fire team. And lastly, because your fighters are so expensive, we also recruited a rogue doc for 50 credits. This character's got a last pistol Medicaid kit, Medicaid skill, as well as patch up. So that way if anybody suffers any critical injuries, you gotta do a medical escort mission, you can use your rogue doc in order to patch those guys up and put them back into the fight again. Now, for those of you guys who are venturing out to the Ash Waste or to the Underhells campaign, you're going to need 400 credits for vehicles and mounted fighters. And this is where we start using my unofficial Arthromite rules that we actually have that I've written up. So these are Ash Waste Nomad Arthromite Herder Handler. That handlers would cost you 50 credits just by themselves. They have 4 up ballistic skills, 7 plus leadership, 6 plus cool, 7 plus willpower, as well as 8 plus intelligence. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to treat this character just like you would a normal vehicle crew. I just use the keyword Arthromite crew instead, and this guy's responsible just like a vehicle crew would be for your Arthromites, what they have. And we got you guys a macro Arthromite as well. This is very similar to the same stats as the custom rig that costs 205 credits. It's got a 7-inch moon allowance, 8 plus 8 front toughness, 8 side toughness, and 7 rear toughness. It's got 5 health points, not hull points, but health points because it's alive. It's got 7 plus for handling, 4 plus armor save. At the same time, we're also equipping this thing with a small armored howdah, which is basically a small transport cage, so that way your passengers of your nomads will be protected while riding this thing. And we're also equipping this thing with a mining laser, because you're allowed to take heavy weapons on your Arthromites, on your giant Arthromites. And a mining laser is a strength 9 attack, so that we can deal with enemy vehicles as well. Now, you could use this for both the Ash Wastes. You could also use this for the Underhells campaign as well if you take a Malstrain Allegiance. Now, normally if you're an Archeo Hunter, you can take a Abyssal Ferryman team with you, but unfortunately, I don't know if Ash Waste Nomads can be Archeo Tech Hunters in an Underhells campaign. And the reason why is because the Abyssal Ferryman team counts as an alliance, and unfortunately, the rules is written for Ash Waste Nomads. They can't take alliances of any sort. So I didn't know how to kind of go with the rule on that one, so I decided to just ignore that the Abyssal Ferryman team, just because I don't want to cause any controversy in case that's not a thing you can do with the Ash Waste Nomads. So instead, I just presented you the 400 credits that you can use for your game. And now that we're done talking about your 1,000 credit rosters, let's talk about your unofficial Ash Waste Nomad starting roster for your Aranthian succession at 2,400 credits. What we're going to do is we're basically take the original 1,000 credit roster we have, and we're going to expand upon that with some new fighters, as well as some new equipment, as well as your unofficial giant Arthromite insects to use for your gang. So up first is going to be your chieftain. He's going to cost you 350 credits this time, and because we're upgrading him. We're giving him mesh armor as well as a web gun still, as well as a long blade, but we're also equipping with a dustback Hellamite. Now with my Aranthian succession, my Arthromite rules that I wrote for the Ash Waste Nomads, you can purchase dustback Hellamites just like how you could purchase Wastelander bikes or ash cutters and other vehicles that are available for fighters in your gang. The dustback Helmite costs 60 credits. I figured that was a kind of fair cost just because it pretty much does the same thing as a Wasteland bike at 50 credits, but it also has the Mighty Leap skill, so I just threw an additional 10 credits on top of it. You still have your Ash Cloak. Now, as for your Sky Mantle, you will not be able to use your Sky Mantle if you're mounted on a Dustback Hellamite, but you can use your Sky Mantle if you're not mounted on that vehicle, on that creature. And this time we're changing out their skill with Commanding Presence so that we have larger group activations because you have considerably more fighters in this roster than we did the very first one. Your first champion is going to be your Watcher. It's going to cost 315 credits. He's got Mesh Armor this time for 5 armor save. He's also got his Charge Caster with Shock Blast and Crack Rockets, as well as a Scavenged Dub Gun for a backup weapon. Still has a Rocket Pack, but this time we gave this guy Photo Goggles, that way we can see in all visibility conditions, and he still has his Ash Cloak as well as a Sky Mantle, and we gave him the Eyes of the Wasteland skill, so that way he's got 6-inch longer reach when it comes to his Photo Goggles using it in visibility conditions. Your second champion is going to be your Stormcaller. It's going to cost 170 credits for this character. Once again, I got Mesh Armor for 5 armor save. They also got a Stormcaller staff, which is great for close combat and allows you to change the visibility conditions on the battlefield by using visibility rules by channeling the energy from the Stormcaller staff. He's also automatically coming with the Dustback Hilamite as well as Ash Cloak, and he's also got the Bring It Down skill, so that way you can have a basic action to direct the fire of all the members of your gang directly towards a target of his choice, and that target has target priority no matter what. At the same time, we also have a Dust Runner in your gang. It's going to cost you 155 credits. This fighter is armed with Mesh Armor as well as a Chain Lance, a Stavish Skull Gun for a shooting attack, as well as an Ash Cloak, and mounted on a Dustback Hilamite. At the same time, that Chain Lance is going to be absolutely devastating to charge against opponents as well as enemy vehicles while riding your Dustback Hilamite, and that Chain Lance is going to be also great to use in close combat. And we have a second Dust Runner is going to be equipped exactly the same way with 155 credits apiece with exactly the same thing as well. Ideally, what you want to do is you want to pair up your Stormcaller and your 2 Dust Runners with your leader, your chieftain, if you're in the open battlefield. So that way they can travel across the battlefield together, and all 3 groups can be activated together using group activation using Commanding Presence. Now, as for your warriors, the very first warrior is going to be your warrior specialist at 275 credits. This character's got Mesh Armor for 5 armor save, also packing a Charge Caster with Shock Blast as well as Crack Rockets. It's got a Stavish Dub Gun for a backup weapon as well as a Rocket Pack, so that we can automatically reload your own Shock Blast, your Charge Caster in case it runs out of ammo, and Photo Goggles so we can see in all visibility conditions. Also packing an Ash Cloak as well as a Sky Mantle, and he's also your gang specialist as well. After that, you got 2 warriors that are equipped exactly the same at 140 credits apiece. Both fighters will have Mesh Armor for a 5 armor save, long rifles with infra sights, so that way they can shoot at distance and not have to worry about visibility conditions. Also remove partial cover as well with those infra sights. They have Scavenged Stub Guns for backup weapons, as well as for close combat, as well as Rocket Packs, so that way they can help reload those Charge Casters. They also have Ash Cloaks as well as Sky Mantles. Now, what you're going to want to do with these guys, you're going to pair one of your warriors with your Watcher and the other warrior with your warrior specialist. So that way, the warrior specialist and as well as the Watcher can open fire with their Charge Casters. If they should run out of ammunition, they can reload with their Rocket Packs. But in case they roll out of ammo again, your 2 warriors with the Rocket Packs will be able to re-equip those guys, so that way they can keep on firing their weapons. And at the same time, when they're not actually firing their, not actually reloading those Charge Casters, they're using the long rifles to take out targets as well at distance. And once again, you have 2 Dust Runners. These guys cost 125 credits apiece this time. Both are still equipped exactly the same with Blast Carbines and Scavenged Stub Guns, but now we're equipping them with Dustback Hilamites as well, so that way they have 60 credits that they could use on those creatures. They also have their Ash Cloaks as well as their Sky Mantles, but we remove their Sky Mantles if they mount up on the Dustback Hilamite. What you're going to want to do with these 2 Dust Runners is have them pair up with the 2 Dust Runners that you have in your gang, Dust Runners that you have in your gang, as well as with your leader, as well as your Watchers. That way you have 5 guys who are mounted on Dustback Hilamites. They can move around the battlefield quickly, engage targets that way, at the same time attack from an exposed flank. In addition, if you end up going in a situation where you can't take mounted fighters, they can leave their Dustback Hilamites at home, and they can also fight on foot still. And the last thing we have, of course, is your Hanger-On, which is your Rogue Doc at 150 credits. He's got Last Pistol Medicae kit, Medicae, as well as patch-ups. So that way you can take care of any of your fighters who actually get hurt. As for your additional 400 credits for vehicles, once again, we're using the exact same macro Arthromite that we had earlier with your Ash Waste Nomad Arthromite Handler at 400 credits. Once again, exactly the same stats, exactly the same equipment that we had earlier with your 1,000 point list. Only this time we're using this so that way you can mount your fighters who are not mounted at Dustback Hilamites. So for example, like your Warriors and your Watcher, for example, can ride this vehicle and then dismount and also fight when they need to. And then of course, go out to the Ash Waste and cause some problems with that mining laser. And that pretty much makes up your unofficial Ash Waste Nomad rosters using 2,400 credits for those who want to fight in the Aranthian succession. So in conclusion, these are my recommended lists using my unofficial Arthromite rules for Ash Waste Nomads. If you really want to take a look at those rules, I do have it posted on the description box beneath in the description box. You can click on that link to my blogger site where it pretty much spells out the rules as well as the upgrades. I also made a video about it as well, which you could also find in the description box too. The reason why I made these rules is because hopefully these rules actually are actually not really required. I'm really hoping that the latest supplement, Tribes of the Wasteland, will actually give us macro insects that our nomads can actually ride like vehicles, because that's always been a thing that people have always wanted, but I never really saw the light of day. So hopefully those rules will be in the latest supplement. However, I didn't really see information about that being in that supplement, so in case if that's not there, I created these rules as an unofficial way in order to give these guys vehicles or something like vehicles using larger insects, so that way they can remain competitive with their fellow players out in the Ash Wastes and also in the Underhells as well as the Underhive as well. So if they're not there, this is my solution to that, and hopefully if there's actually are official rules, then we can just ignore this whole thing and move on with the official rules. Now, if you guys end up using these rules, or if you guys have any recommendations for other videos you'd like to see, please leave a comment in the comments boxes down below. And if I like your idea, or if you tell me that you're using my stuff, I'll feature in a future video, which would be kind of cool. So that's good with you guys. As always, please feel free to like, comment, and or subscribe. Your guys' input is valuable to us as always. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, as well as blogger.com for all the latest greatest hobby news related to this channel. I am Commander Cheapskate. That's good for this one. I will catch you guys next one. Peace out and stay classy.